Good afternoon. My name's Jim. I'm from Gotham Sound and Communications. Today, our guest is Colleen Goodsir from Zaxcom. And what we're going to be talking about today, Colleen, is
Zaxcom new LA 3.5, LT 3.5, and the SRX220 slot receiver.
we're going to start with the LA and LT 3.5s. These are ZHD, which is Zaxcom High Density, correct?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what Zaxcom High Density means.
So Zaxcom High Density is a mode that you can use in the wireless microphone. So what you can do is set it up to ZHD, and in that modulation, it takes up 50 kilohertz of frequency space. So that's the actual space that you're using to transmit the signal, and then you can space it as close as 100 kilohertz together. So basically you can fit a ton of these in a really small space. You could fit 10 in 1 megahertz of American television spectrum, which is pretty amazing. It's no one else can do this. So that's what's very cool about it. Of course, double the range, or up to, I should say, to keep it, politically correct.
Gotcha.
But that smaller spectral footprint it gives it a much cleaner signal, so you can transmit a much further distance. And of course, it's got all the same good stuff that Zaxcom Digital Wireless has, the internal recording. You can remote control them. The internal recording does have time code, of course. They're remote controllable from a Nomad or an IFB200. So yeah, we're really excited about these.
They sound really awesome. If you are a big reality show soup, these are good because you can probably get more wireless.
Oh my gosh, yeah. In a typical, our frequency is disappearing. We all know this. They're getting rid of...
Spectrum's going away.
The spectrum's going away. Originally, we thought it was above 600, and now it's like 575 and above. So you're limited to a really small space. So they may say, hey, you can use 1/4 of block 21 or something ridiculous like that. So where you used to have to space them 700 kilohertz apart, 500 if you were lucky, with our regular, if you're a regular mixer and you've got a bunch of QRX 200s, for example, we recommend 300, but you can space them as close as 200. You're getting, what is that? That's 4 or 5 times the amount of transmitters in one small space than you could before.
And it has all the same things that the 2.5s have.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So it has internal recording, it has time code, it has never clip,
Yes.
and it has remote control from IFB200 and Nomad, correct?
Yes.
That's awesome.
And I don't know if a lot of the customers are aware, but we're shipping with these. Actually, I don't have batteries in this unit, but we've got these really cool OLED displays now, so much easier to
The
read.
OLEDs?
OLED, yes. Does someone have batteries?
Oh, well, look at that. The man behind the curtain.
The man behind
is
the
going to get us some
curtain
batteries.
must have been a Boy Scout.
Nice.
Always prepared.
We are momentarily going to see the OLED.
It's very, very exciting. And here you go.
There you go. Let's see a close-up of that. Look at that. In direct Kino flow light. That's awesome. That's really nice. So explain to me a little bit more about this 50 kilohertz wide bandwidth and how that affects the unit. Obviously increased range because the signal space is narrower.
Yeah, I don't want to say cleaner, that's the wrong word for it, but because it is more of it's almost like, when you're writing a paper and you put a whole bunch of fluff in it and you hand it in, or you put it in Times, what is that? Courier New. And they're like, really? This is a load of crap. You don't need this. Let's put it in, aerial, space it, single spacing, get it out there, get it going. That's like the signal. You can fit so much more in such a smaller piece of space. So that's part of why, because this signal is cleaner, that it can go further. And we did a bunch of range tests at your Gotham Day. What was that?
The
3
Expo.
weeks ago?
Yep.
Gotham Expo. That was a really wonderful day. Thank you for having us.
No problem.
But
we love having you.
we were outside doing a bag test. We had Jack, of course, brought his bag. I don't even know who the other sound mixers were at the time. I mean, I do know who they are, but I don't want to name names while we're on live stream. But
one was George Clooney, correct?
I think so. Brad Pitt was there. He was actually the one walking the transmitter further away.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I know they got well over 4 blocks here. And it was no problem, no dropouts. It was
And here is the story of Queens,
Here's
Long Island City.
Long Island City, yeah. So again, crowded area. There's a lot going on. Kaufman Studios is what?
Kaufman Studios is
a block away. So with that space, 4 blocks is pretty impressive. Who knows what you'll get in a cornfield in Nebraska.
Now with this, I assume we have some new receivers, correct?
Well, here's the thing. Our current receiver line is fully compatible with these new transmitters. And I think the majority of today's customers, yours and mine, of course, are going to actually stick with the receivers they have.
So the QRX200 will work with this?
Yeah, and I'll explain the reasons why. So with a QRX200, a 235, or the 212 that goes into our RX12 multi-receiver, you can go into ZHD mode and you can space these transmitters. We recommend 300 kilohertz apart. They can go as close as 200. Now, the nice thing about that is that you can have a combination of ZHD transmitters, non-ZHD transmitters. You can even use the old, like the 900 AA's, and you're compatible across everything. We have new receivers that are coming out in a couple of weeks that we'll tag like the 300 series, but it's a QRX 300, a 335, and a 312. The thing about those is they'll only work with ZHD, so you can only pair it, you know, LA or LT 3 point whatever
3.5 or
with
3.6s.
With a 300 that'll only work in single mode. You can always space it at 100 kilohertz apart, and it's amazing. You'll get so many in a narrow space, it's unbelievable, but you've got to watch your compatibility. So if you've got a bag and you've already got 10 wireless, you want to stick with your 200s and use them in ZHD mode. And of course, the big question has been, will ZHD work with 2 channels on your QRX200? And yes, it will. We're working on software, but this had to be done first. We anticipate the dual mode in QRX200 and 212 working probably mid to late July. So.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now I know everyone out there is asking the big question.
What is the big question, Jim?
The big question is, when will it be available?
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't going to be available very soon. As in, I think we're starting to ship tomorrow. So.
There you go. We've sold a bunch. I know we want to sell more.
Okay.
We're going to hope that everyone out there watching buys it.
Okay, I hope they do.
And we're going to get some like shipping tomorrow.
Yes, we will.
What could be better than that?
You selling more.
There we go. All right. Now I think we're going to move on. I don't know if we have any questions. I don't think so. We're going to move on to the SRX220. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the SRX220?
So the SRX220 is we've got Paul's fancy cables here.
Paul's fancy cables.
These are very fancy cables. So the SRX220 is a slot receiver. It has, well, you can't see the connector, but it's got the...
We can take this off. We can multitask.
Oh, just pull it out, Jim.
I got it.
Sorry. So it's got the single connector on the back. This will go into slot-in cameras. Eventually, well, you can use it with the SL6 and get analog audio. Right now, we're working on the serial protocol, which is still a little while out. But it's 2 channels of audio on a single carrier. So you can use it with, basically you'd use it with a camera link or one of our stereo transmitters, but these aren't as common. This is a pretty specialized application. And of course, because of this amazing cable that Paul made, you can use it on the side of any camera.
As a camera hop.
As a camera hop. It takes up very little space. This cable, for example, gives your power, you've got your 2 channels of audio, and your time code. So it does all these things in a slot receiver, which is pretty amazing.
And we will be able to get little lower profile D-sub connectors, right angle, so it won't be popping out all over the place. Those are coming. We just had to make these in a pinch, and we were out of stock on the low profile D-subs. And we can also make D-sub connectors, XLR connectors that are low profile. We do it on our MakerBot. We do it in different colors, so you can label your colors.
What's the MakerBot? Is that your 3D?
That's our 3D printer.
Okay,
yeah.
Very cool.
So we do XLRs, male and female. We do TA3 and TA5Fs, and yeah, they're really nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. Now, let me ask you, no telemetry, right? With the SL6 right now? That's going to be coming, it's only audio?
Right, that's their serial protocol, correct? Right, there is none of that right now. That's why we're not marketing it as working with it together just yet. We've got some work to do on our end to get all that stuff going.
And these actually are shipping now. We have them in stock.
Yes, they are shipping now.
Here at Gotham Sound and Communications.
In lovely Long Island City, New York.
That's right.
I didn't want to call it Astoria.
All right. I think that's it. If we don't have any questions, we have some stuff going on. We're going to be in Atlanta, aren't we?
I heard, yes.
You're going to be there at the same time as me.
I heard that as well, yes.
It's our Gotham Sound and Communications Atlanta office 2-year anniversary. We're going to have Zaxcom there. Looks like we may have a question.
Dave Schwartz.
Dave Schwartz. Let me read. Hi, Dave. I heard that the ZHD mode, the audio sounds a little bit different. Can you please clarify? You'll sound like a munchkin, Dave.
No, I can and I can't. The thing is, people have said the ZHD sounds different, and the bizarre thing is people said it sounds better. I don't know, I think it's just one of those, you know, some people like the way a record sounds, some people like the way a cassette tape sounds.
Well, we can't speak from experience because we don't have those here yet, but we will do a test on those, and maybe we can follow up on that.
Yeah, let's follow up on it.
We got another one? No? Okay, back to Atlanta. 2-year anniversary. Starts at 1 o'clock Sunday at our Bishop Street address. We're going to have barbecue, we're going to have beer, we're going to have prizes. Anyone going to local 479 meeting, please come after. The lovely Colleen will be here. The lovely Jack Norflus will be here.
Yes.
Correct?
You told us there was a party. How could we resist?
There was a party. We're flying down.
Yes.
And I'm sure something will happen after the party. We'll go.
I heard what happens in Atlanta stays in Atlanta,
Okay.
but
We'll have to keep that private. That's it. We will return in 2 weeks. We are off 2 weeks. We will be back on the 12th? 19th? 12th. Sorry. We're going to be back on the 12th. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, video archives and Vimeo and YouTube. Ideas at info@gothamsound.com. I want to thank the lovely Colleen.
thank you for having me.
The illustrious Glenn Sanders for creating all this, and all the good people at Zaxcom. I'm Jim Guzzi from Gotham Sound and Communications. Enjoy your Tuesday.
Thank you.